Hi guys, it's Jan. I wanted to tell you something about myself because I imagine some of you might be wondering this. When I was 6 or 7 years old, a friend of my mom's, they were a married couple, decided they wanted to take me and their niece upstate to a Bible camp in Schroon Lake. And while we were there, they asked people at one of the meetings if anybody wanted to accept Jesus Christ into their lives. So I felt a pulling, a need to come down there and do this. And when I looked at the couple, they told me that I had their permission to do so. So I went downstairs, down actually in the auditorium, and I accepted Jesus Christ into my life. And a couple of people talked to me about him, and then I went back to the couple that I was with and my friend who was their niece. And so after that happened, I noticed a lot of strange things happening to me. I believe I was, attempted to be killed a few times by Satan and his demons because they knew when I grew up I was going to try and help people, and they don't like that, which is something that I have done. I worked as a counselor for 19 years with addicts and have tried to help people. And sometimes I've spoken about spirituality and connections to God if people were willing to talk about it. If they weren't, I wouldn't talk about it. I would try, and if they weren't up for it, then I wouldn't talk about it. So I try to be caring with them as well. In any case, like I said, one of the first experiences I remember after that acceptance of Christ was I was in the Aquacade swimming pool in the World's Fair with my day camp because my mom was working, and they the camp counselor was with the group, and I left the group, and I was a little bit off in the deeper water playing with that water thing that was pushing me out, and I would swim back in, and it would push me out, and I'd swim back in, and I felt like I could swim underwater until I realized that that pressure thing that pushed me out was too far, and I was too far out, and I was in trouble, and I started to drown. And I was trying to, swim up, and I'd go underneath, and kept swallowing more and more water. And the rope was there that separates the diving deep water from the regular water. And there was a lifeguard there in an orange bathing suit. And I said, "Oh, great," to myself, "there's a lifeguard. He'll help." And so I screamed and screamed, and it was like, "Help, help." And it was like the lifeguard didn't even see me. And so I was, thinking, "Oh my God, I can't die. I'm too young." My little life flashed before my eyes. And then I started praying to God, and I was telling him, "You can't take me. I'm too young. I'm too young." And I realized that nothing was happening, so I gave up. And I told God, "Take me. I'm yours." And right after that, a boy picked me up out of the water, this black boy who looked about 14 years old, and he brought me to the edge of the pool, and I was choking and coughing, and I thanked him, and he asked me if I was all right, and I said, "Yes, thank you very much." And he was right next to me, and I got out of the pool as he was right next to me, and I turned around to thank him again because I was overwhelmed with gratitude, and he was gone, nowhere to be found. And I looked all around the pool, and he was nowhere to be found. And I walked past the lifeguard. I was crying for my traumatic experience, and the lifeguard heard me crying. He turned around and he said, "What's the matter?" And I said, "What's the matter?" I said, "I almost drowned, and you didn't even help me." And he looked really surprised, so I guess I really was invisible to him for some odd reason, which I realize at this point in my life, it's not odd at all, that it was something that happening to make it look like I wasn't there, because I was screaming pretty loud, and he wasn't that far from me at all. And he said, "Are you all right? Did you swallow a lot of water?" Which, in fact, I really did, so much so that I felt the water in my stomach sway from side to side. And he asked me if I wanted him to pump the water out of my stomach, and I screamed because I was so angry, and I said, "No, don't touch me." And he said, "Well, don't drink any water and don't go back in the water." And, of course, from the chlorine, I guess, in the water, I was thirsty, so I had just a little bit of water from the water fountain. And then I ran and joined my camp, and everybody was leaving. Of course, they did a head count after we were outside, not inside, which was a bad thing. And I went home and told my mom I wasn't going back to that camp anymore, and I told her what happened, and she agreed. That was my first experience of almost dying after accepting Jesus Christ.